um, the energies that are coming in are kind of dictating um, more positivity
Hmm.
for the ones I think that have a great outlook in life
I
to
see.
make it better. The
I see.
ones with chaotic minds are being more chaotic because of the energies coming in. So some of them have a little bit of a scrambled eggs going on in their brain.
Hmm. That always happens, right? That's you always have the two extremes, and
Well,
somehow.
I think there's levels of it right now. There's many levels because people are progressing. They may
Mhm.
not look it, but I really am on the high side of people progressing and opening up to new levels. And I think it's a very positive time.
Mhm.
Sometimes you have to do a little crashing to get to um, a wider outlook of what's around them,
I see.
not the little boxes that they've been in.
Those boxes are hard to break out of.
Oh my goodness, I have different clients that I go, okay, it's time to leave this box. And they're going, I'm very comfortable.
Well, you have boxes within boxes,
Yes,
within other boxes. So you may
right.
be done unpacking one, then you realize there's another box, then you have to unpack the other one. So
First thing they have to do is leave the doorway. That's very difficult for them to leave the doorway. And then getting into a larger box so they feel more comfortable, right? Kind of like a
that's a
train.
good way to put it.
I'm seeing a train right now. Hmm?
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, like a train, and you're in one box car,
Yeah.
and it could be where the luggage is, and you go, oh, this is nice. There's a lot of nice luggage in here, and somebody's got some really nice luggage, and I want to look at it. Maybe next time I'll buy the luggage. This
Yeah.
is kind of cool. And then they go on to another, oh, this is great. This is another box car, and it might have food in it and a dining room, and
You never
so
you
that's
never
a
know.
great explanation. And another one might have a viewing of where they're going, big windows and cushy seats, and somebody comes and gives them a drink and says, oh, this is life. This is
Exactly.
fabulous, right? Then the next car, they have gift shops where you can buy things.
You just never
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Just never
So,
know.
so it's I think people have to look at that as a fun, you know, that this is a fun adventure and we're doing it on many levels. People just
Yeah,
think of themselves as three-dimensional or four or fifth, but we're multi-dimensional. So we're doing this on many, many levels,
yeah.
you know.
That's one thing I wanted to kind of, if you don't mind going in that direction. Uh, there are mentions of, for example, where we are right now in history, right? Things have happened in the past, World War One, World War Two, the Great Depression. There's been some hard time in our history. However, there seems to be this feeling that, like right now, there's something is just not quite the way that we're used to things being. I guess that's like the mildest way that I can put it. And
Mhm.
it's getting to the point where it's like, at what point do we get to stop and say, okay, what's going on? Right? Because it's like one thing after the other, and people are starting to kind of feel the pressure, right? The pressure's building up. So, from your perspective, right, if I were to just ask simply, what do you think it's going on, or what's going on? Like, what are we looking at?
Well, as you were talking about the past, and there were many agendas of World War One and World War Two. There were many families that had an agenda for those wars, as Vietnam and you know, wars all over the world. There's different agendas.
Mm-hmm.
There's many agendas going on right now
I see.
of let's keep it status quo and let's keep the control on mankind or
Mm-hmm.
human. That's interesting. I said mankind, um, controlling the populace.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the train, they're breaking out of the luggage compartment and going to different compartments and saying, wow, this is fabulous. I didn't know this was here. I didn't know that was there. I didn't know I could even go to the gift shop. I didn't know it was available. It's like our history was never taught to us. And as you're traveling in different areas of the Middle East or Europe, wherever you're going, which you are going through all the archives of what's left
Yeah.
of these civilizations. At the same time, many are digging and finding either it in the seas, all these incredible civilizations, or
Mm-hmm.
just digging a little deeper past the window that is below the ground and finding there's three more stories
Yeah.
and books that are larger than a typical person would be reading. It is the size of almost a dining room table. They're humongous. Where did these come from? So a lot of people are questioning because they've never been taught what really happened and how our history has been homogenized, simplified, and erased in many
Yeah.
places. So these questions are all bubbling from the surface because there's so many around the earth right now, around the world, that are discovering what was and how
Mm-hmm.
come this was never discussed
Yeah.
in school or political scenes. And so you have these agendas. Let's keep it quiet. Let's, don't, there's nothing to see here. And others are bursting out of the luggage compartment and saying, there's more to this train. I know. And I'm running for it. I'm running for the dining room compartment. And, my wife is going to the gift shop, you know, and seeing all the goodies. We have all these goodies on Earth, and um, we're discovering a lot of our tech was ancient technology. They're finding in ancient sites old phones. They're bigger, they're different, but they're phones. And so it's like, okay, where did this come from? How did they know this? And are we copying what we already know? So this agenda is happening. Plus, I know I'm rambling, but the energies that are going on this earth
Yeah.
are changing us. And it's opening up our DNA because we have so much information in our DNA. And
Mm-hmm.
if we're multidimensional, we're bringing that down. We're bringing other information from other dimensions to assist in this reality so that we can go through our ascension.
I,
Because we tried different times. I think this is the seventh attempt, but we've already passed the marker. So
so
we're doing this.
when you say, okay, let me take a different angle with this one. Earlier, right, you mentioned third dimension, fourth dimension. There's been a lot of talk about we are shifting into the fourth dimension or the fifth dimension. And there's always been this talk about a new earth and this shift happening, right? If you were to explain this whole concept, what would be your take on it?
Well, the earth is going through her evolution.
Mhm.
And we're going along for the ride, whoever wants to go. And doing that, they change and become more of what they really are. They bring in parts of their other self, let's say their higher self. Again, we're multidimensional, so we're assisting on this level, their levels, their awarenesses. You know, um, think about how you change from the time you were in fifth, like let's say first grade to 12th grade.
Yeah.
You didn't know what you knew in first grade.
Yeah.
Now you know a lot more, but your body and your DNA changes at the same time. It opens up.
Yeah.
It's scans. It's opening up. I could get really technical because we're going into timelines, different.
Hmm.
We are actually bringing all the timelines together. So there are many timelines, and they've been, well, let's say others have manipulated the timelines. So it's as all of us, and we say the new earth or the new reality is how do we want it?
Yeah.
That's the biggest question. How do you desire to have it? Not being led all the time, but for people to become um, more self-sufficient.
I see.
So that they're not always relying on a savior to save them. They
Exactly.
are they are the ones that can do it all. They're a fractal of the creator of all.
That's very interesting because I mean, basically what you just mentioned kind of opens the door to the personal responsibility aspect of this because the reason why I brought it up from the beginning, there's this idea that there's this general shift happening, right? Like the earth is moving into another vibration and this and all that stuff. But then I feel like the personal level accountability is often dismissed or kind of overlooked
No,
because
that is extremely important to
yeah,
be accountable. And okay, so I was with a client the other day, and it's like, well, what can I do? I'm just little old me, and that's saying I'm waiting for somebody else to do it, not myself.
exactly.
I have no means to do it myself. So they're in a very small think they're still in the luggage compartment, and we have to bring them out of the luggage compartment to say you're more than that, and to be accountable and not to have this simple life, to allow others to tell you what to do, how to do it, what to eat, where to go, um,
Yeah,
what medicines to take, what not. You know, it's we're leaving the control programming, which is very old. It's
mm,
a very old program. And we're leaving that so that we can make our decisions what is good for us.
exactly.
And with that comes wisdom. And the energies that are coming in are awakening up all what we have brought in our DNA. It's a trove of information of everything, of where we've been, who we are, why we came, and which is incredible.
It is. It is. Because it's like this whole awakening thing, right? People getting to the point where it's like you get to a point where things just don't add up to you anymore, right? Like you've lived under the programming your whole life, you were raised in it, and then one day, just like you wake up from a dream, you're like, wait a minute, it's just this whole thing is not adding up, right? then you start asking yourself questions. What's going on? Like, why are we this way? Why is it that way? Then you travel, like you said, like I've been traveling for 6 months now, and all the things that I've seen along the way, and it's like, what happened to us? What happened here? Why are we here? And it's almost like we're going backward because the greatness and the energy of these so-called ancient places, and you just by being there, there's an energy that you don't see in today's constructions or any kind of execution, right? So it's like, what happened here? What happened to humanity? Why did we? It's like fall from grace type of situation, right? So you start to ask these questions. Now, what you were saying earlier is like you can't wait for some sort of savior that will come and make everything all right and the earth is going to move to another dimension and all that stuff. I feel like there's got to be a certain level of individual responsibility to say, okay, let me find out my place in this whole
Exactly.
complex,
That is
complex
that is
equation.
exactly
What
right.
is my place in this, and what is my responsibility in this? Because if something did go wrong and it needs to be brought back to being right, what role am I supposed to play in it? Right? And
Right.
I feel like it
And that-
starts on the individual level instead of waiting for some kind of, collective awakening where people are just sitting around on their couches and everybody just wakes up. I don't think that's what's happening, but I just feel like
No,
that.
and what is happening also in this wake up is a very uncomfortable time because it's a time to go within.
Yes,
And
exactly.
just like, let's say, in this short amount of time, someone has lived.
Hmm.
They may not have liked what they have done in just this life.
Hmm.
So, with this energy, it is like a review, and you're reviewing what you have done or not have done or accomplished that you wanted to accomplish in this life. And so it's cleanup time. And I can, there's many words to call it, like the dark night of the soul. And many are going through it right now. They're going through the dark night of the soul, and it's like throwing up what they don't want, what they dislike about themselves. But they can also look at what they do admire of themselves and bring
Yeah.
that forward. And then it's also looking at other times that they have lived or where they came from. Did they like that? Do they have empowering aspects that they would like to bring forward from those other times to bring it forward? Right? And that empowers them even more. So many are going through that and they're seeing like TV shows of themselves,
Yeah.
right? And that becomes, and people become when this is all through, like super beings because they're facing the wind. They're facing what maybe they don't like. They're questioning, and maybe they don't like the answers or like do not like to go out. Um, but they do it because it's a quest inside them. And
Yeah.
many are crossing that line for that quest. What happened? And they're not just looking, okay, we're going through a political race here, and this is the due date for the ballot to be brought forward. But again, don't look for the savior. Don't look for that one being that's going to change. One can do a lot of work and accomplish
Hmm.
a lot, but everyone has to roll up their sleeves and say, okay,
Exactly.
how do we want this world? And
Exactly.
what can I do? Even if it's the littlest thing, no matter how old you are, You
Mhm.
can be doing the simplest thing like going to the grocery store and just being pleasant,
Yep.
smile, a gesture to help another person. The
Yeah.
smallest things add up. It brings kindness and love and joy.
It changes the overall feel of the life that we're all sharing
Right.
because there is no such thing as a society independent of the individual, right?
Uh,
So I think that we make the mistake of seeing us then society. Like, oh, what's happening to society? Well, each of us is what's happening to society. There's no
right.
society independent of us. Okay. So every single person is like a mosaic. Every single person is a little tiny tile of what we're calling society, right? So that means that if we want society to change, that means that each and every single one of those tiny tiles have to change, right? If it's covered in mud, let's shine it up and clean it up so it starts to look vibrant, right? So I guess, like you said earlier, like these times, it's important to kind of remind ourselves of not sit back and wait for some miracle fireworks moment. Somebody won, somebody lost, or this law was voted or whatever that will change or bring the change that we're hoping for. I think the change happens on the individual level. If we all change, society changes undeniably, right?
I love this saying, and we are the ones we've been waiting for. We're not waiting for anybody else. We
Exactly.
are the ones. We are the ones that we've been waiting for.
Exactly.
As I mentioned to you before, we've had three hurricanes this
Hmm.
year, two back to back. Devastating.
Yeah.
Okay. So some people had more than others, like generators or food or whatever. This was a time, and everybody did it.
Mhm.
Most people that I know.
Yeah.
Um, I have this I can share. I'll come over and cut your trees. Um, People that were not home, where's your key? I'll get in. We'll start um, taking care of what needs to be cared for. You
Hmm.
know, and that was a big movement for unifying areas, and then bringing it across on the internet to say they're in trouble and these people are in trouble. What can we do to help them? How can we help them? Even if it's a case of encouragement, you know.
Hmm. That's
This
wonderful.
is this is adding up to you're my brother,
Hmm.
you're my sister.
Hmm.
I care about you. As animals, I mean, my God, there's always people that are just not caring about their animals and they left them chained.
Oh,
And that was just publicized everywhere. And it was recognized by so many people of this is terrible.
that's awful.
This is terrible. And letting that person who did it know this is not good. And you're going to be accountable for your bad actions.
Hmm. Yeah,
You know.
that's awful.
So I think a lot of people are being accountable for their bad actions as we're speaking.
Hmm.
As the world's changing, we went through a process, years ago of greed was good. Greed was good. It was publicized. Greed was good. Yes.
Wow.
Make money. Greedy is good. I mean, they had even movies. Greed is good. And then,
Wow.
then we went through another period where we're going, no, it isn't. So it's awakening up to, no, it isn't. And this is not good.
I see.
So it's just step by step, but we're in a lot of big steps right now because the world is changing extremely fast.
Yeah.
It's been slowly changing, but now it's a hurry up. It's
Yeah.
a hurry up.
Feel like it's
It's a
accelerating. Yeah.
yes, yes. So, yeah, people, that's why you feel in the atmosphere some anxiety because
Yeah.
people do not know what is going on. That the energies are speeding up,
Yeah.
that the agendas they're trying to hold on, some that are controlling energies are trying to still control what was in the old, let's say, machinery. The machinery is
Exactly.
dying, it's dead. We have a new energy coming in and great possibilities. And I really feel that's how people should look at it. We have great possibilities, but to join our minds together, how do we want to make it better
Exactly.
for everyone? Not just for a few, but for everybody and the earth. So it's vibrant.
Exactly. So, all right. What would you say? Just kind of like break it down, baby steps, right? What would you say that would be the best way to approach this from individual level? Like, someone who doesn't have a whole lot of knowledge and understanding of all this stuff, but just wants to be going in the right direction. Like, what would you say would be positive, you know, steps to be going in the right direction?
Well, a lot of people that come ask me that question, and I think it's a good question. I think it's a really good question. A lot of people do not take care of themselves. They're always looking to take care of somebody else because many may not feel complete inside. And I think the first step is to take care of themselves. And I actually tell them to romance themselves.
Wow.
Date themselves, romance themselves. They're always out there looking for a partner or someone to love them. And, um, they're in the process of still the need for that. And they're going to find somebody that's needing the same thing. So take the time to fall in love with yourself, romance yourself. You know how people go out and buy gifts for others and wine and dine them and, impress them. Wine and dine yourself.
Wonderful.
Fall in love with yourself. And when you do that,
Yes.
you you really get to know who you are, what your passions are,
Mhm.
and you can be so in love with yourself, having a good time, maybe painting, drawing, writing, biking, creating, that all of a sudden the wants of another, you go, I don't know. I just love myself so much. It's not narcissistic. It's finding your God self in you and going, I really like me, you
Yeah.
know? And that's when everybody else comes up to you and goes, I like you. I love you because you become the love that you truly are. That is our true self. We're love. And they just want to be near you because you radiate love.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the first thing. Go out and romance yourself. What you would give to another, you give to yourself first, and then you find out who you are and what you like, not what somebody else likes, and not what they want to be. Never
Wow.
need another person in the sense of being needy, but you know, then it becomes entirely different. You love yourself, and then you can love another because you get it. You really
Yeah.
get it. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what? You surprised me in a way I can't even explain to you. I did not see this coming. Okay, because when I asked the question, I thought you were going in a completely different direction. And it's like you turn around and took it to Rome. Um,
I think I surprise a lot of people by that because they're not used to taking care of themselves
yeah,
and loving themselves, you know.
that is so interesting because all the things that we just talked about, right? You would think, oh, what is the solution to all of this. Like you have to do this stuff and that stuff and you know, 45-step programs and whatever. And basically it's like, well, just love yourself, you know,
Yeah.
and that's the key.
I also, and this is important, let's say I deal with people that, with child, they've had maybe traumas as a child.
Mhm.
So you go and find that child and you
Yeah.
become the child finding the child. And then once you incorporate that child back into the person,
Hmm.
you know, you let the child go play. And it's the same thing of loving yourself. You let that child go out and play, and you talk to that child inside you and say, what would you like to do today? And I'm going to tell you a funny, I have one client, I don't think she'll mind because I'm not saying who it is. And I was talking about that, if you want to go out and they say, go get an ice cream, go get an ice cream, go, horseback riding, do all these things, right? So she texted me later and said, how do you feel about skydiving? I'm going to go jump next week. And I went, this is new. I'm still working on the adjustment of your body. And then she laughed. She said, you told me to go out and be like a child. I said, just wait a minute, wait a week till I adjust you. And then you can go skydiving.
Oh, wow.
It was so
Well,
cute, you know, but that's a client that just got it right away and said, you've got it. I'm going to go get my child and go play. And I
uh,
love that because we do not listen to the child inside us. And that's the one that
no.
brings all the information, all our goody tools, and they're incredible. Children are
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. Also, one thing about connecting with that inner child, I was just having a conversation about this today. It's like whatever you do, whatever you have in life, as wonderful as it is, if you don't remind yourself of how exciting it is, if you don't remind yourself of how grateful you are or how passionate you are about it, at some point it all starts to feel the same. And I think that's how people start to age in a terrible way because they stop getting excited about life. Because when you're younger, it's like your first trip to Europe is like, you know, then your first this, your first kiss, your boyfriend, your first house, first apartment, first. So all the first is you just it's like excitement after excitement after excitement. After a while, people lose that. They get so serious.
Yes. And how to regain it. How to regain it.
Exactly. Because
I'll
that's
tell
really
you,
the essence of that vibrance that you see in people, right? They lose it.
flaccid in their face. You can tell. They don't know what to do. Um,
Yes.
when I have people over, I kind of shock them. They get ready all, have like, let's say 4 or 5 girls spend a little couple days workshop.
Hmm.
And they'll all be in their, let's say, their pajamas. And I go, and I'll start the car and I'll say, come on, girls, let's go. And they go, well, we're in our pajamas. And I say, no, perfect, perfect. Get in the car. And I'll take them to Dairy Queen or something and
Yeah.
get some ice cream, you know? I
Yeah.
mean, didn't our parents do that? They put us in a car and say, you're in your
Yeah.
pajamas, you've been good, we'll take you for an ice cream. Um, it's it's amazing how we get to a very placid state, and how to get out of it is
Yeah.
important. It's
Yeah.
to get out of, okay, we have our it's the TV dinner syndrome. That's a good one. The TV dinner syndrome, where we have our dinner, TV, and that was a big popular thing when I was younger. We didn't know what the hell it was, but
Wasn't those microwave dinners?
no, they put them in the oven. But we
Ah.
thought, oh my goodness, it's all prepared. Mother
Oh
doesn't have to
yeah.
cook, and she's in a great mood, and it's something new. It's like the Jetsons would have had it, the program, the
Yeah.
Jetsons. This is a Jetson meal, right? But Think about the little tray table, and people do this where they eat dinner every night, they turn on the news, and they listen to the program, which is being programmed. They're being programmed. That's why they call it programming. And it's just a routine,
Yes.
a routine. So you have to
Yeah.
break the routines,
Yes.
con break it, you know,
Because
break it.
no matter how wonderful your life is, at some point it starts to feel the same. No matter how
Right.
big and shiny your house, at some point it just feels like your house. If you buy a brand new car, it feels amazing for like 6 weeks, but then it just feels like a car, right?
You stop eating it.
So,
Just eating it. Well, it's just like when the hurricane came in here and wiped out all the gardens and everything, and all the trees are going away. And my sister walks in who loves change. She loves it.
yes,
And this is fabulous.
fantastic. Yes.
Fabulous. Now you can have new gardens. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's that mentality that is fantastic because you're like saying, you're right. They don't look at the loss. It's
Yeah.
a cleaning.
Yeah.
It's, something new,
Yeah.
something new.
It's an opportunity.
Right.
It's an opportunity. It's like I had a friend who he's a contractor, really smart guy. So he would do these contracts for like 6 months, 7 months, and then he would go on and do other contracts, right? So I asked him, it's like, don't you ever want to get a real job and have that stability with all the talent, the skills that you have? It's like, why would I do that to myself? It's like every 6 months I get to be a new employee. I get to be the new guy. I meet new people. Sometimes I go to a different city. Sometimes I go to a different country. Why would I want to, you know what I mean? It's like, and that's what kept them excited because tech is not that exciting as a career. But he found a way to make it exciting
Right.
by
Right.
starting over, right? And giving himself new challenges. And I feel like people today are so quick to look at things. And that kind of segues into what we're saying about the tragedies and stuff like that. It's so easy to see something and to look at it as a tragedy. But a lot of these tragedies, as long as you have your health, it's an opportunity to write a new story, right? It's an opportunity to reevaluate yourself. It's an opportunity to appreciate certain things. Like you're saying, the people came in and helped. So it's an opportunity for you to see that you're part of a community and people around you are capable of such things. So you don't take your friends and neighbors for granted anymore because you know the value they bring to your life. So these are opportunities for us to see things that we were too plastic to notice in the past. And it kind of shocks us to
It is.
be
It's
present.
really, it does shock you. Now, just during the night of one of the hurricanes, my studio was flooding, and my son and a good friend, we were draining the water out till 2 a.m.
Wow.
And, but it was like, okay, I'm getting exhausted in South Bay. So how do I turn this around? So I asked one of them, he's from not from the United States. And so I asked him to tell me stories about when he came and his life there. And that passed the time as we were, throwing buckets of water out. But it it gave us, it was real. It was a real moment where we got to know even deeper parts of ourselves as we contributed to each story.
Yeah.
And that happened all through the neighborhood, you know, talking about what they've been through or what they're going through and how the assistance
Yeah.
of another cared about them. It meant a lot.
Yeah.
So that's the rebuilding, as we're saying,
Yeah.
rebuilding of how we would like our new journey to be on Earth. Yes, there's other civilizations, and we're part of the knowledge of that. Even though we're looking at it and it reminds us, oh yeah, I think I've been here. Oh yeah, I
Mhm.
remember when that was destroyed. But it's all in our DNA. We know these things. We need to bring it forward, and whatever created the devastation of another civilization or
Mhm.
on this earth or brought us the wealth of knowledge of how to create certain buildings and technology and other worldly information. Take that forward to build the new, but yet don't lose the God self in us and the creating more of a unification, peace, and being humble and true, really truthful of
Yeah,
ourselves, where we don't have all these facades that we think what others will say
yeah,
will offend them, or you can't
yeah,
say it. We have to break all that. We're afraid to say things.
yeah, yeah. And it's not easy because of the amount of distraction that, we have around us. But I think these conversations are worth having because it's not a matter of like, you know, giving lectures or educate, well, not necessarily educating, but preaching to people about this, that, and the other. I think it's a matter of being real and
Mm-hmm.
being able to see that you don't have to be some kind of scholar or preacher or anything to see the logic of, how life flows around you, right? And just pay attention. Just be present and pay attention and take notice of yourself. Like you said, like stop neglecting yourself, just passing yourself by the mirror and not even taking a peek to see who's in that mirror. Like take a moment and start looking at yourself. And because, okay, this is interesting. You mentioned the fractal nature of our existence. Okay. This one thing about fractal geometry, right, is that the most minuscule thing can be magnified to being a whole universe. Okay. Meaning that the smallest thing that you can think of today can be everything. That one handshake can be everything. That 1 second that you take to notice someone smiling at you or saying the right thing at the right time can mean everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we get in the habit of paying close attention to the smallest details in our lives and focusing on magnifying the positivity on everything we can get our hands on, including ourselves, like stop taking ourselves for granted, uh, then I think we have enough positivity going on that not only you can inspire yourself to step into a better place, but you can inspire a lot of people around you. It doesn't take a whole lot to make major changes in your
Right,
personal life or in an environment.
right. And that's again, each one of us stepping into that in the smallest way, going to the mailbox and saying hello to the mailman and directly looking at them,
Yeah,
directly looking at them and saying, "You matter, you
yeah,
matter." And going to the grocery store and talking to the cashier.
yeah,
How was your day?
yeah,
They say it automatically. Did you find everything? Not really. I was looking for a Cadillac and I couldn't find it. I mean, they wouldn't even
yeah,
hear it. But you
yeah,
have to, you know, because it's routine. So you
yeah,
have to look in their eyes and say, how is your day?
exactly.
How's your day? How's it going? Has it been busy? When do you get off shift? You know? And that's when all of a sudden they come alive.
Yeah,
Somebody knows. They noticed me.
exactly. It's like that book, The Little Prince. Remember The Little Prince, the kids book? It became really
Yeah,
popular at some point. It's like,
yes.
there are hundreds of roses, but then he decided to pay attention to that one rose. And that rose became the rose of all roses, simply because he chose to acknowledge that rose and pay attention to it. And it became everything, right? And that's really what it comes down to. I think we all can do our part in bringing more energy to every little moment instead of just
Well,
going through the motions. Because,
Emoto, who did the taking positive thoughts,
yeah,
negative thoughts. I met him
the water,
in
yes.
in in California. We did a workshop. He
Mhm.
was doing one, and I was doing one, and I just fell in love with him because he made so much sense. And this was when he was just coming into the United States and talking about his books, and just taking a positive thought and putting it in water, and then putting it in ice and looking under the microscope, and
Mhm.
how beautiful a positive thought is, and how ugly a negative thought is. It's like dirty, it's brown,
Yeah,
where the other is beautiful. We are crystalline bodies,
yeah,
and our waterways, every thought that we think is either going to make us sick or going to make us extremely healthy and happy.
exactly.
That's why I get back to romance yourself. When you love yourself,
Yeah,
your waterways are really happy. They're dancing,
yeah,
and then they'll have make other people happy. And
yeah,
what did you do? How are you happy? What are you on, kind of thing.
yeah.
I decided to love myself first,
That's
and
beautiful. That's
I
it,
just I
really.
first to love myself, and then you find a whole world inside you.
The
You
whole
have so many.
universe. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty
Mhm.
much it.
You can
Um,
bring other people in, that you like, or you can relate to,
yeah,
as long as they love themselves.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
because to me, like, there's another thing. It's like people go through life, right? Whether it's from parents, loved ones, relationships, all that stuff. And they're like trying to find love, right? And I'm like, no one needs to find love. Love is boundless. It's always been there. It's all like this whole stuff is made out of it. No one needs to find it. You just have to be and live in love with yourself or whatever you choose, right? So it's
Mhm.
this idea that you without and someone is gonna bring it to you. It's something that I feel like keeps a lot of people in the dark because there's absolutely no reason for anyone to be looking for love. It's always been there. It's always been there. You just have to tap into that inner part of you and just, like you said, fall in love with yourself and you realize it's boundless. You have a whole
Children,
lifetime worth of it.
children are just filled with love. And that's why people want to be around children. They get so excited to be around a child because they're just beaming with love. But once they get into, let's say, the growing up periods, it's hurry up and grow up.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that. Hurry up and grow up. So they lose the luster of their, they put the shields on. And so we're going through a process now of taking the shields back down
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
allowing, which I call the solar energy, which is our heart on many, many realities, dimensions, to shine through. That's our star energy.
Yeah. And that's really what we're all here for, just doing our little
Mhm.
parts.
Right, right.
So,
To just shine, to shine on Earth. This we're experiencing what it's like to be in this reality,
Yeah.
but at the same, trying to remember who we are
Yep. Yeah.
and how to make it better.
How to make it magical.
Yes,
Nice.
magic.